Hello everyone, my name is Steve Woodard and I'm going to talk a little bit about what successful leadership means to me. Now I want to ask a couple questions here. I want you to think about it. How do you define successful leadership? What does it take, do you think, for a leader to find fulfillment? Now we've all heard that the journey of 1,000 miles starts with just a single step. But it's important, I think, to realize that the journey to nowhere also starts with that fateful single step. So when we begin our journey for leadership, it's critical that we have a vision, a purpose, to make sure that we have line of sight on what we want to accomplish in that goal, in that journey. Otherwise, our journey for leadership will end up heading nowhere, without fulfillment, without success. I recently had the opportunity to visit with one of the executive leaders for the organization I work for. His name is Mike Belvis. He's the executive director for financial planning and advice. And I asked Mike, I said, how do you measure success as a leader in your role? And he thought about it for a moment and he said, I think I measure it in small wins, in small steps. In my team, success and wins are how success is measured, and it's not something that happens immediately. It's something that happens over time. He said leaders need to make sure that they have a good vision, a good goal. Make sure they have a good calibration for the organizational mission, and make sure that they're always tying their leadership role, what they do, how they coach, and how they teach to that vision. He also said that successful leadership begins by building trust. Trust begins by building relationships. And building relationships and trust take time to build with your followers, with your teammates, with your employees. It involves taking risks, being vulnerable, sharing who you are. And leaders need to be self-aware. They need to be authentic. They got to know their strengths, they got to know their weaknesses, and they got to own them. And he also said a good leader, and this is something that really stuck, a good leader doesn't coach by simply telling their followers, their teammates, their employees where they need to be, what the end goal is. A good leader takes the time to allow that follower to go through the self-discovery of how to get to that goal, that vision, by asking open-ended questions, by leading them in the right direction, but making sure that they are thinking about what the process is. A good leader also helps their followers find what their self-motivations are, help them go through the self-discovery of finding out what's important to them. And in doing that, they get self-motivated, they get self-directed, they understand what the vision is, they understand what the goals are, and they get headed down the right direction. And then at that point, they'll begin to think critically in the moment, they'll begin to have more individual empowerment, and they'll end up being the best version of who they are and who they can be as your team, as your followers, as your employees. I got a lot of good insight from Mike, but ultimately the success of a leader is about measuring small wins, building relationships, building trust, being authentic, being who you are, not trying to be somebody else, and then coaching your team, your followers, your employees to reach the best possible level they can to reach their potentials and then become leaders on their own. I hope you got some good insight today from what I shared, and thank you for your time.